Boxing King Media in association with Boxdraw, Mr. Colin Hart.
My name's Colin Hart, Sun boxing columnist.
There you go, the legendary reporter still going strong. AJ fight week, it's another big fight week. What are you sensing from this fight week? You know, how critical is this moment in Anthony Joshua's career? He's got a guy in front of him who's coming in on the back end of a fight that some people believe he won. He's lost over a stone in weight. What are you thinking?
This is a vital fight for both men. Obviously, Joshua, having come off 2 defeats against Usyk, has got to win this one. Otherwise, his career could be over for good. As for Franklin, let's face it, a few months ago, nobody in this country had ever heard of Jermaine Franklin. If he was to do what most people think is not possible and beat Joshua in his own backyard, then he's right up there with the Furies, the Wilders, the Joe Joyces, the Dubois, the Dillian Whites. So it's a vital fight for both men. What I'm impressed with, Franklin has obviously has slimmed down for this fight compared to what he was in the previous fight with White. He obviously fancies the job, and he knows this could be the making of a great career.
Definitely so. The rumour is, as long as AJ pulls through, both teams from Queensbury and Matchroom are going to try and get that Fury fight over the line. Do you think that's all smoke, or do you think that's realistic?
Look, Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest draws in British boxing. If he comes back and wins on Saturday night and looks good during it, then there's no reason why he's not in the mix for a fight with Tyson Fury. Usyk and Fury was very big. Believe me, Joshua and Fury will be that much bigger.
Fury could be in a position where he could potentially fight Joyce as long as he wins, or AJ. Which fight do you think he'd go for? Because obviously the easier fight to make is the Joyce fight, but which one do you think he'd go for?
Some people might think Joyce is an easier fight for him. I don't. I think Joe Joyce is greatly underrated. I know he's slow, but his nickname suits him beautifully. He is a juggernaut. You can't seem to hurt Joe Joyce. But obviously the fight that Joshua would probably want more than other is that fight with Fury. Now, I know Fury says, I'll never want to fight Joyce after their negotiations broke down some time ago. But, you know, Fury says one thing and does the other. Don't forget, Fury's retired about 3 times.
He sure has. Hopefully he won't retire again. How do you see all this unfolding? What do you think is more than likely going to happen? AJ wins, Joyce wins. How do you think the summer will unfold?
Well, Fury then can decide what he wants to do for his next fight. He can take an easy defence. He could do that. But I think, you know, money counts in this business. Well, money counts in all businesses, obviously. And I think that Fury knows that the biggest money of his life would be a fight with Fury.
I hope so too. I want to get your opinion, Colin, on this situation where Rob Smith has come out today and said that there could be I can't get the words out now. There could be issues for Eddie Hearn and Chris Eubank Jr. should they go ahead with this fight in Abu Dhabi. Do you think the British Boxing Board will step in?
Well, they could. I tell you what, if they do try and stop it, I think they could be on the end of a lawsuit. I mean, I don't want to see the fight happen anyway. I was against it from the very beginning. When it was first announced, the fight had never happened. Because I think the discrepancy in size between a small welterweight like Conor against a super middleweight like Chris Eubank Jr., the discrepancy in size is too big. And I was against the fight from the very beginning, and I haven't changed my mind.
I know we said earlier money talks. Do you think money will talk and the fight will just go ahead on June 3rd in Abu Dhabi? That's what the Sun reported, and obviously you work with the Sun. The Sun reported that the fight's imminently done.
Well, I mean, I've always maintained in boxing, until the contracts are signed, it ain't happening. when the contracts are signed, then the fight will take place. Until then, it's still speculation.
And if it does go ahead, do you think the British Boxing Board will potentially fine Eddie Hearn or put restrictions on him? Could you see that something like that happening? Because that would be a big step for them.
Yes, I mean, I don't know the rule book, the British Boxing Board of Control's rule book, but if Robert Smith is suggesting that the board could step in to attempt to stop the fight, he knows what he's talking about. Whether that will happen or whether legally he'll be able to stop a fight taking place in somewhere like Abu Dhabi, I don't know. But of course, Conor Benn is no longer licensed by the British board. Eubank Jr is. But the money that will be offered will be so great that maybe both men, or should I say, Chris Eubank, will risk having his licence lifted by the Boxing Board of Control.
That'll be very interesting. Just the last thing I want to speak to you about, Colin, is Kell Brook. He was seen at the Matchroom HQ yesterday. It appears talks are ongoing for Kell Brook to potentially fight Manny Pacquiao. What do you think of that fight?
Well, that's another thing. It's another fight I don't want to see. Both men are way past their best, but Pacquiao is at least 8, 9, 10 years past his best. I wouldn't want to see Manny in the ring again at 44 years of age, even against Kell Brook, who's, as I say, past his sell-by date.
And just wrapping up on this main event, break it down to me from what you've seen. Jermaine Franklin, nearly 2 stones lighter. Does he cause the upset, or does Anthony Joshua come back with a bang?
Well, as I say, anything's possible in boxing and certainly in heavyweight boxing. But I'll be amazed if Joshua hasn't got the Usyk defeats out of his system, and I expect him to stop Franklin probably after halfway.
Interesting stuff. Mr. Colin Hart, is there anything else you'd like to add before I let you go? Anything else you'd like to add before I let you go?
No, I've got nothing else to add, except I hope West Ham can win on Sunday against Southampton.
Big up the Hammers. Mr. Colin Hart, thank you for your time as always.